If you're thinking about shooting rally racing, then this video is for you.
It's time. The WRC is back in action for 2025. Welcome along, everyone.
Okay, so in today's video we are going to apparently talk about how to shoot rallies. And because we're talking about rally racing, I thought I'd just take you on a drive with my rally car, which you're going to see in just a few seconds. And while we're doing a little trip with it, I'll just talk about a few things, you know. But because it's really early in the morning and because the sun is just starting to rise, I really need some coffee, so let's get that done first, right? Oh, and by the way, I'm not one of these I need 20 minutes to pour coffee type YouTubers. I'm just using a machine that does it for me, like, you know. Okay, while we wait for the machine to be ready, I want to go over a few things to start off. The first thing is you need to be aware of the fact that shooting rallies is exhausting. So if you are already exhausted when you walk up 10 stairs to your apartment, then you might have a bit of a problem. But on the other side, I'm not the fittest as well, like not at all. And I still managed to do it, so it's not that hard, just something to be aware of. And in my opinion, one of the biggest factors to keep in mind in order to make your experience really good, and therefore also your photos in the end really good, is preparation. Preparation really is key, and that's why I'm making this video, you know? Like, of course, you have to prepare for every type of shoot, but with rallies, you know, it's a bit different, but you'll see later on in the video. And before we continue, I want to tell you about a mistake that we made in the beginning. And that's buying WRC tickets, because believe it or not, you don't need tickets to go to the WRC. I mean, it makes sense if you think about it, because the tracks or the stages are so long, you can't lock them down completely, you can't put fencing everywhere, so you just can't check tickets. There's a few places where you need tickets, and also you need it for like the open ceremony and all that, but this is something we'll also talk about in a few minutes. Coffee's empty, so I'm ready to go. So I'd say I go to the car, start it up, and we go for a little drive, shall we? Driving here, just another quick tip based on my experiences. When you look for rallies, there will be a lot of different types of rallies. Because for example, if we go back to the WRC example, you'll have like sand-based rallies such as the Kenya Safari Rally. You will have rallies that are primarily tarmac, like the Central European one. And you will have rallies that are mixed between loose surfaces and tarmac, such as Portugal or Italy. So when you have the ability to choose between rallies, if you can just look for one you want to go to, then I would always recommend to look for rallies that also take place on loose surfaces, on gravel, on sand, on whatever, snow maybe even, if you go like to Finland or Sweden or something. Because the problem is, if you shoot on tarmac, the cars won't kick up any debris, there's like nothing happening. So your photos won't be able to like show the rally feel behind it. Whereas if you shoot on gravel, sand, snow or whatever, you will get photos where the cars are kicking up like all the degrees if they like accelerate or if they go through a turn quickly. That will make your photos look so much more interesting and will be just so much more interesting to look at. Okay, I really feel like taking a quick break just to step out, stretch my legs a bit, and I think I already know a good spot for that, so yeah. Let's go there, get out of the car, and then we can discuss some more things regarding the planning and all that. Here we are. I quickly turn off the car and out we go. The camera doesn't really make it easier. Okay, while we're here, Let's take a quick second to talk about accommodation, because that's quite an important topic. Usually when you go on like vacation, your first choice would be to go for a hotel. But I recommend you to not do that in this case. The problem is you have to stand up really early sometimes, and you're getting back really late sometimes, so you don't want to be limited by the hotel because breakfast only starts then and dinner ends at that certain time, so you want to be flexible. And you get the most flexibility if you just go for an Airbnb. I mean, think about it. You have a kitchen, so you can make your food whenever you want. You have, in most cases, you have a washing machine. By the way, I recommend you to search for Airbnbs that have one, because then you don't have to bring as many clothes because you can just wash it there, which makes it even easier. And by far the best part is, it's cheap. Like, it's really cheap. Compared to hotels, Airbnbs can be so much cheaper, especially if you travel with friends, because then the price drops even more. But now I hear you ask, how do I choose the perfect location for the Airbnb? Where should I look? Well, my friends, depends on the stages. We'll come back to this later. I show you how to check all the individual stages for every rally to see exactly where they go and where you should stay. Because obviously, in a best case scenario, you would go for an Airbnb that's like in the middle of the stages or like in between somewhere. So no matter where you want to go on each day, you don't have to travel as far. And then there's also one more thing I want to recommend you. Or it's not like a recommendation, it's like a need. You need this, trust me. And that is a rental car. The stages are very remote sometimes, so you won't be able to get everywhere by bus. Like in general, public transport won't get you to all the spots you have to be, because sometimes it's in the middle of the forest, somewhere like very remote, and you won't be able to get there if you just rely on public transport. So definitely get a rental car. And again here, if you travel with mates, it gets way cheaper compared to if you go on your own. So, you know, another benefit if you travel with mates. And also, can we all take a quick moment to appreciate the weather? Like, it's so fucking nice currently. Like, I feel like so energetic and like hyped up to do things, you know? As soon as winter ends and the weather starts to look like this, with just clear blue sky without any cloud and starting to get warm, it's just a good feeling, you know? Okay, so how do you plan when to be where? How do you know when which rally group starts at which stage? Where are the stages? All that, like the in-depth planning. How do you do it? But before we get into that, I want to mention a few things. The first of all is you won't be able to see everything, and that's something you have to accept. Because there's so many cars going on so many different stages, you just simply won't see them all. And because you won't be able to see everything, you need to plan in advance which stages you really want to see. So which stages are super interesting to you, because obviously you don't want to miss out on a very nice, like, I don't know, gravel stage on top of a mountain because you are on some boring tarmac stage, as mentioned before. So definitely make sure to plan in advance when you want to be at which stage. Also, one thing to consider is which classes do you want to see, because there's like a lot of different rally groups, so to say, driving on the WRC stages. It's not just the RC1s, because the RC1s are the cars you probably know about, but there's more. There's like the RC2, 3, 4, and I think there's even an RC5 or like a Juniors Cup or something like that. I'm not too sure, to be honest. Man, the sun really changes. It's getting brighter and darker every second. Damn. So as mentioned earlier, I want to show you a really nice website that you can use to plan. And that's simply called rallymaps.com. I'll show it right here, and it will also be linked down below in the description. And on there you can just look for the rally you want to go. They have a lot of different rallies, not just the WRCs. They also have like smaller local rallies. And they also show you the stages. They show you where the tracks go, and they show you where you can go and all that. So that's a really helpful tool. And also one tip based on my experience, don't go for the public visitor zones. They may look tempting because, you know, it's visitor zones. They would probably put the visitor zones in the most interesting places. And yes, sometimes that is the case, but there's a few major downsides. The first of all is you need to buy WRC tickets to go there, and they can get quite pricey depending on which rally you go and like what your budget is and all that. And also the other major downside is it will be crowded. It will be crowded with people, and you probably won't see anything, or your camera won't see anything basically. So I would recommend avoiding the public visitor zones and going full on guerrilla and looking for your own spots to go, because, and that's in my opinion one of the most interesting things about shooting WRC, you can go wherever you want. Of course, always while respecting the safety rules and always respecting the marshals, and if they tell you to fuck off, you fuck off immediately, without any discussions whatsoever. But yeah, as said, make sure to plan as much as you can in advance, avoid public visitor zones, go guerrilla and look for your spots, while always respecting rules and marshals. And also make sure to think about breaks when you plan your stages, because you will need time to have a quick break in between to get some lunch or to restock on water or whatever. Because rally days can be really exhausting, especially during the summer, so make sure to plan for maybe 1 or 2 breaks in between. They don't have to be long, just short breaks, sit down, eat something. Trust me, it will help you. Okay, and now with all that said and done for now, I think we are heading off. Welcome to Let's Talk About the 2 main questions. First of all, why is that fat fuck on the floor? And the second question is there anything else I need to know? I'm afraid I can only answer one of these questions, but hear me out. There's some more short things, like really small things that will help you a lot if you take them into account. First of all is, don't forget to bring water and snacks, because, you know, stages can be really long and you might be hiking for quite some time, so definitely bring something to drink and just a tiny thing to eat. Also wear proper shoes, don't use your like Air Force Ones or whatever, just take something that's durable, in best case also waterproof, because when you step through the forest there might be some wet stuff like wet leaves and all that, so definitely go for something waterproof if available. And because you will be walking for quite some time and because your days will be pretty long, don't bring too much gear. Only bring the bare minimum that you need to use, because otherwise you will regret it. I'm talking from experience. Also make sure your gear is ready. What I mean by this is make sure your batteries are charged and that you have 2 or 3 spare ones in your pocket just in case. And also make sure your SD card is wiped so that you don't like rock up to the stage and you only have memory for 10 photos left, because that would be pretty bad. Also, you've heard me talking a lot about going with mates and not going alone, and this will really help you. First of all, they can motivate you and it can be a real booster in situations where you feel tired or maybe upset because you didn't get the shot you wanted to get, and then it's always good to have someone on your side who's like, come on man, let's keep pushing, the next one will be better. It can really help you. Also, sometimes when you have to drive a lot between stages, it can be really nice if someone else can take over the driving and you can just have a quick nap. That's also a nice thing on the side. Shut the fuck. And now there's just 2 topics left. The first one is, don't underestimate how long your days will be. So make sure to catch as much sleep as you can and wake up early so that you don't miss like the first 3 stages or whatever. Just make the most of your day and don't forget to go to bed early, you know. And now there's just one thing I want to mention as well, and that's really important. It has nothing to do with the actual shooting, but it's really important, and please, I know I'm doing a lot of jokes and all that, but I'm dead serious with this point. Rally racing is endangered. What do I mean by that? Well, if you are familiar with the history of rally sport, you know that in the 80s and 90s there was Group B and also some other rally groups that had some pretty insane cars, but there also were a lot of deadly accidents, like people getting run over because they ran in front of the car. And I mean, back in the day it was all a bit crazier than it is now anyways, but rally racing in general just is dangerous. It's the nature of the sport, because the drivers race on normal roads. There's no gravel pits, there's no barriers, there's nothing. The only thing saving your ass when shit hits the fan is a tree, or maybe some sort of wall or whatever, or a ditch, but most likely it's a tree. So please, as a visitor and also as a photographer, it's basically the same. Be responsible. Just think twice before standing somewhere. Don't stand on the outside of turns, because that's straight up suicide. Don't stand like really close to the track, except for like special spots where the marshals allow it. And if you are in doubt, just ask the marshals. Most of them are pretty nice, like some are rude and you don't really want to talk to them, but still, just ask if in doubt. Same for drones, because in the RC1 there's a helicopter flying like over the cars for the TV broadcasting. So if you want to fly a drone, just ask the marshals beforehand if it's okay, if you're allowed to do it. And just don't contribute to any accidents, because I feel like if just a few more accidents happen, rally racing is a thing of the past. So please be responsible, respect the marshals, and just don't be fucking stupid. Okay, my friends, that's it for the video. Why am I still on the floor? I have no idea. But what I know is that this video took me quite some time to make, because I went out like 3 or 4 times to recapture things I didn't like in the first attempt. And I've also started to edit the video, and I must say that I'm kind of proud, because I feel like I've never made a video that gives you so much information and so many details and so many like quick tips in such a short video that's still watchable. Because, you know, back in the day I would have made a video where I'm just sitting there with the camera straight in front of me and I'm just straight up talking for 15 or 20 minutes or whatever, and everyone, including myself, is falling asleep watching it. And because of that, I'd really love to get your feedback down in the comments. This isn't like some comment for the algorithm, I need the cloud, I need the money, I can't feed my kids anymore, I can't afford my fans. I would just really appreciate to hear your feedback down below. And yeah, with all that said and done, that's my upload for 2025. See you next year. I'm joking. I really want to make more videos, but I have no idea if I can do it. So if I don't, please don't be mad. But if I do, just, you know, be proud of me, okay? Thanks! I'm dying for more!